Oh, let's see. That's kind of decent. Hello, if anyone's out there, I'm just kind of getting set up. Hi, Fanny. Looks like my connection's mediocre as expected. Hi, Lisa. Let me see. Looks like my connection's mediocre as expected. Hi, Lisa. I really need to get some good Wi-Fi. Really need to get. I'll be starting in a couple minutes. Hi, Angie. I'm just kind of finishing setting up. I have one more brush to grab. And I'm making sure that I don't totally look like a blur. It's not terrible right now, I suppose. One more brush to grab. And okay, it's over here. I woke up with a cold today, so I'm actually not going to be sipping during my live paint and sip. Hopefully that's not disappointing to anyone. I doubt it is. Oh, it's almost out. I need white. Where's my white paint? There it is. Yeah. Don't think we'll be able to see my face and the painting at the same time. Excuse me. How do I want to do this? And what do I do about this connection? Let me. Okay, I'm seeing if this is any better. It might not be. We're about to find out. No, it's not. Arg, am I gonna have to move? This seems a little better, no? Okay. Is anybody painting with me today? Just so that I know if I should get started or not. The audio is better. Oh, that's good. Well, thanks for being here, whether you're painting or not, or just hanging out and watching. I appreciate it. Oh, Lisa's painting along. Cool. I think I'll get started. I'm gonna wait like 1 more minute just in case there's some other folks joining for the painting's sake, and if not, then we will get started. But I've got all my paints here, and actually I can start pouring. Put up the. This will be our result. May have to mix a color or two as we go. Yeah, no worries. Using all plaid paints today. Which I think is a pretty cool thing as a plaid ambassador. Ooh, stop it, stop it, stop it. This one's like boogery or something. Yeah, it looks like when I move is when it gets fuzzy. So it was really good for like a minute. Gosh, this poor connection. Sorry, guys. I hope you'll be able to see. Okay. Maybe I'll put this one next to it so you can see what we're making. It'll fit. The fun part is I didn't write down any instructions, so I just have to remember how I made it. Oh, thanks. Maybe I should do this on your phone. I won't take his phone. Hi, is it Lainey? Hey, Steven. Okay. I'm gonna see. Maybe if I do it on my laptop, is it any better?
Okay.
Is the one
That
that
was
one's
not.
not better either. Okay. Just checking.
Oh,
You haven't missed anything, Lainey. We haven't started. I'm
figuring
figuring out my internet. Okay, we'll just go down to one. Okay, let's get started. Thanks to everyone who is here and who's going to paint along or just join me to hang out. I've got all my colors set. If you ever want to make this in the future, all the stuff is in the description. Brush sizes, supplies, colors. For those of you who may have just started to join me, I woke up with a cold today, so I will not be sipping during my paint sip. So I've just got water. That's it. Let's get started. So, gosh, where can I put this where it's not? I like don't want it to be in the way. That's fine. I don't need a brush. Where's my water cup? Okay, so I'm starting with my largest brush. I'm going to try to move slowly so it's not quite as pixelated. And I am dipping into the magenta color, that pinkish color. And I'm going to go about halfway down my canvas, a little bit above. I'm going to paint it right on there, just slightly above halfway. And I'm getting just a nice thick streak here. I recommend sweeping from side to side instead of like little brush strokes because that leaves a different type of texture. If you can see that. I mean, unless you like the texture, that's totally cool too. But I like it smooth, so I am not doing that. Sorry, I'm like watching myself too and looking for questions. So I've got all that going for me. And then after I have a nice thick streak here, there it goes. It's about maybe 2 inches thick. I'm going to dip my brush. I am not rinsing it. I'm going to dip it into some white paint and just blend it in together. So I'm putting it right on top of the very top of where I had that pink paint down. And I'm going over, and then I'm going to dip again. And I'm going to keep dipping it in the white until I have the whole top painted. So it has this nice gradient effect. And you can go back down again. And if you have too much white, just grab more pink. But it's creating this beautiful like gradient effect where it's going from a dark pink to a light pink. I'm going to add that same color towards the bottom. So our mountains and such take up a good portion of our canvas, but there is some light pink down here. So I'm going to add it to the bottom, like, I'm just going to skip a small chunk, and then I'm going to add that light pink to the bottom, because it'll be like the reflection of the, sorry, it's hard to paint the very bottom edge. I just dip it in a little white, and I'm going to just paint it. I'm going to set this big brush aside for now. I'm just putting it in my water cup. You can rinse it out otherwise right away. Actually, maybe I'll do that. Great way to rinse your brush is to kind of lightly bounce it at the bottom of your jar and then swirl it around. It helps really get everything out of there. So I'm just lightly bouncing and swirling and drying it off. Leaving your brushes in water for extended periods of time is not good for it. It loosens the glue in here and starts to ruin all the bristles, and they start to fall out and things like that. Okay. So then I'm going to take I'm taking my smaller flat or square brush. So this is my 1/2 inch. And I am going to dip it into the lavender color. I'm not loading up my brush. I'm just dipping it a little. You can see that. And I'm going to come in from the sides and add some streaks in the sky. So like these. Trying not to block your view here. So I'm just coming in from the very edge and just dragging my brush. Oop, a little bit of curvy there. That's okay. You can always add more streaks if you like it. Or you don't have to add them at all if you don't like it. And it's a little bit in the middle here. And I'm going to add a few to my water as well. By water, I mean the light pink area that we did. Again, since it's a reflection of the sky, it should look similar, right? I'm just adding a little bit of that in there too. Oops, that was a big one. Okay. That seems decent because it's basically turning everything purple. So I don't want a totally purple bottom. A little bit. This is what we're looking like so far. Is this angle okay? Should I scooch the camera a little closer, or is this good? So this part, you just have to wait for it to, if you're at home and you have a blow dryer or a heat gun, you can dry this part. I'm gonna hang out and catch up on my chat so you don't hear a bunch of loud noise. And then if it's not dry in like a couple minutes, then I will do my heat gun. Is this decent camera wise? Can you see? We want our background to be dry before we do the mountains, because the mountains are white, and if the background is wet, you're going to be able to like smudge it all together. So angle is good. Cool. I'm just going to fan mine, I guess. I don't want to make a big loud noise with a blow dryer. You can fan yours too if you don't have a blow dryer or heat gun. Make sure your brushes are clean. We'll be using them for the white, and we don't want pink in our white. Getting dry. The wonderful thing, I actually really like acrylic paint because it dries so quickly. Oil paint is beautiful, but I don't really have the patience for it. Oopsie. Scratch my painting. Big deal. If there's anyone new joining us, this is the painting we're making today. All the materials are in the description if you want to make it now or another time. And of course, you could pick any colors you want. This is just the color scheme I went with. For this part, I am going to put my original painting next to it because it'll be easier for me to see the mountains. Hi, Steve. When we do our mountains, you can really put them in any order or shape you want. I'm just going to make mine a replica of my original and put them in these shapes and angles or whatever. It's totally up to you. You can put them anywhere you want, or they can look like anything you want. My canvas is almost dry. It's a little tacky. Thanks to everybody joining. Some updates. We just finished our background for our painting. We're about to work on the middle ground. Danielle is sick with a cold today, so I'm not sipping during the paint and sip. Just water. I can feel my throat getting scratchy. Okay. I'm going in with my largest brush again. So this is the 3/4 inch. Or if you have a 1-inch brush or whatever, just a wider square flat brush. I'm going to dip in with my white paint. And the white paint is still going to be a little bit, since I'm using craft paint, it's not going to be super, like opaque, it's going to be a little bit translucent. So we will have to do 2 layers of the white. So if you see your background through that, don't worry. I can see mine too. So I'm going in with my white paint and I'm going to start working on my mountains. And I'm first going to start by giving myself a, gosh, I can't think of the term, but what is it called? Somebody help me out. A line to base where they're coming from. I can't think of the name right now. My brain's foggy. That way I just know where they're landing. This part is not necessarily for visual purposes, just to help you figure out where your mountains are landing. Gosh, what is it called? Not vanishing point. It's your, And I'm going to come in with my brush. And I've noticed that when I make mountains, they look a little bit more natural if they're not at a perfect pointy peak. So I've got mine a little bit slanted. Again, I'm just replicating my original one. But you can make your mountains however you want. So I'm going to I'm coming in at an angle. And I'm just going to I'm holding my brush weight so that I'm not covering the camera. You should hold the brush in normal ways. Horizon line. Yes, thank you. It's the horizon line. So I'm making an angled brush stroke here. Make a little bit wider. And I'm going to do it again. Trying to make a wider mountain. I just noticed that when I make them pointy, they don't look as realistic. They look a little bit phony. My white is actually covering better than I expected, so that's nice. You want to make sure you're covering, even if you have the white canvas underneath, you want to cover it with the white paint because it will look different because their canvas will look matte and this is more glossy. So make sure that for example, if you outlined your mountain and there's just the plain canvas underneath, you still want to make sure that you are covering that with white paint so that there's not an uneven texture. Okay, how are we doing? Are we okay? I love that you're painting with me, Lisa. That's so fun. I think I'll do a recorded one as well. Not of this particular painting, another one, just to see. I just feel bad that the quality is so mediocre of my. I need Wi-Fi, guys. That's the answer. Okay, then I'm going to go in and I'm actually going to work on this big mountain first before I add that little extra piece. So I'm coming in, making my tall mountain. I feel like it's not as tall as the other one. It's fun. Yay. It's cool being able to interact. I actually used to do this as a part-time job. Not by myself. I worked at like a studio and taught classes. And it was fun. Sometimes they were late nights and it was tiring, but overall it was. I miss it sometimes. I'd like to host it like, my apartment complex has a community room type of thing, and I think it would be cool to host events there if I could get people to sign up. Although COVID's getting crazy again, so who knows? But just thought, oh my goodness, my mountain's getting wider because I'm not getting even lines. Okay, I've got my tall mountain. Now I'm going to go in and create this little mini one that's kind of hiding behind it just by extending my brush. Oh, and creating that little piece. Last mountain's just kind of cut off the edge here, so I'm just making an angle, making a diagonal line here. Just kind of gives the idea. So like I said, I probably will do another coat of that white when it's dry, but I am going to add some blues into my horizon line. So while it's wet, I just went over. I've got my, I'm going to dip it in water. My white's a little bit thick. I'm going over my horizon line that I made in the beginning. And I'm going to dip a little bit into my navy blue to make some of these kind of shadows and reflections in the water. So I'm going to go in over my horizon line. And we are going to dry brush in a little bit to add it, make it a little bit more cohesive. But this is just kind of the base. Oop, there goes some, doesn't matter. Like I said, we're going to go over it anyway. And then I'm really lightly going to now take my brush and create some similar figures to the mountains. It doesn't really have to be perfect, it's water, So I'm just going to left, right, make a upside down triangular kind of foggy thing happening here, which would be the reflection of the mountains in the water. Doesn't have to be perfect, just gets the idea across. I think a lot of times people struggle because they want it to look perfect, and I always try to tell people, if you don't paint regularly and you're just trying it for fun, it's okay. You shouldn't expect it to turn out perfect the first time. So I've got some blue stuff here. So as you can see, it's kind of these lumpy shapes that are somewhat reflecting these in the sense of like big thickness. Like this one, I should probably go a little bit bigger. But it just gets a point across that there's a reflection in the water. I think I will make that one a little bigger. So I'm just going to wash my brush, and I'm going to go over the white again with my white paint. If yours is looking good, don't worry about it. Mine's actually pretty good. I might just add some in a few areas. Lisa, do you paint in your free time, or are you just having fun with me today? Thank you, Lainey. Sorry, I stepped away. I had to sweep the grass off my patio. No worries. Gosh, I wish I had a patio. I'm looking forward to the day I live in a house and not an apartment, though I do love apartment living. But I'm just getting to that point where I'm excited at the idea of having a house and a patio and being able to entertain. I sometimes paint, usually more in winter. Ooh, that's a great winter activity when there's cold outside. I'm not much of a winter sports type of person. I don't like sledding. I've never gone skiing or snowboarding, so. Oh, you live in an apartment too? Well, you're lucky you have a patio. Let's see, where am I? Oh, did I splash this just now? I will need some of that white to be dried before the next part. So, hi Annie. Thanks for stopping by to say hey. Thinking of you and sending you lots of hugs and kisses. If you have a blow dryer, you can blow dry your painting at this point. If your white is covered nicely. I need to fan myself too. I'm hot. Woo! Thank you, Annie. Must be hot in my apartment today. I was wearing pajama pants. Guys, I wear like the laziest stuff when I paint or when I craft. I'm just like in sweatpants, but it's like hot today, so I'm in pajama shorts essentially. How are we doing? We're still pretty tacky. Aw. Lainey loves you, Annie. Thanks to anyone. I see a few new people have joined. Thanks for being here. We're working on this painting. I'm just drying the canvas a bit, which is making the screen look pretty fuzzy because I'm moving so much. um, but this is the painting we're making today. If you're interested in creating it another time, all the stuff is in the description. I've got the brush sizes, the materials, the paints, all that good stuff that you would need for it. And I have a cold today, so I am not sipping during my paint and sip, but I hope you all are enjoying a glass of wine or a glass of water like me. Cheers to you all for being here. Okay. Thanks. I love the colors too. It's like cotton candy, but majestic. I'm now taking my smaller of the two flat or square brushes. This is my 1/2 inch. Taking the 1/2 inch brush. Thank you, Lainey. I just woke up sick today, so I'm hoping I'll kick it in the butt. And I'm dipping into my navy blue color. And we are now going to create these shadows on the mountains. So as you can see here, they're angled so that they're all facing the same way. They're all going from the right edge of the mountain peak and going towards the bottom left hand. And this creates the idea of dimension, that some are in front or behind and that there's some shadows. So I'm taking that. I'm taking my brush. I'm going on the right side. Like I said, I'm holding my brushes goofy just because I'm showing you guys how to do it. Don't want my hand to be in the way, but please hold your brush, whatever's comfortable for you. I'm just trying to avoid the camera with my arm. So I'm on my right side of my peak. I've planted my brush and I'm just going to lightly scoop down. I might have too much paint on here actually. So I do. And I just kind of lightly put that there, and then I start turning mine on the side a little bit. Do the same here. I'm gonna outline my right side. This one's bigger, so I'm actually dragging it. And I'm gonna sweep towards the bottom left. You can add a little bit of waves in there. getting the idea that there is some dimension. This one's tricky. This one's really tiny over here. Just gotta be careful. So I'm just imagining as if this bigger mountain is in front of this little tiny peak. So that's why I'm not going over it. I'm just kind of like where that right edge hit the bigger mountain, I'm just outlining that area. I'm not going to go over it. Does that make sense? So now it looks like there's one behind it. Lisa, let me know at any time, or anybody, if anyone else is also painting, let me know if I'm going too fast, if you need me to repeat a step, whatever you need. Outlining my right side. Might be brushing up from there. You can make it kind of however you want. You can make it lighter, darker, longer streaks. Just kind of play with it till you're happy. Thanks to anyone who's joining who's not painting too. That's pretty cool. You just want to hang out and watch me paint. I could have sworn I saw Tina comment, which is interesting. I see Tina's comment on my StreamYard feed, but not the chat feed on YouTube. But hi, Tina. If you haven't already, please like this video so that YouTube can help recognize my channel. Because we are hurting in YouTube world, man. I have not reached my hours for monetization yet. And gosh, I swear I thought about throwing in the towel. Just hard working for free for a year. And I'm doing stuff I enjoy, so it's not like I don't mean to complain. It's just a lot on top of all the other bazillion things I do. It would be nice to eventually get monetized. If you're new to my channel, I'll be donating 50% of my first monetization check to a local organization called Moving Arts Española that provides art and dance and all sorts of great programming for local families here in New Mexico. Thanks for joining me, Lainey. Appreciate it. Thanks, Annie. I'm going to add a few streaks just into the right side of this kind of disappearing. I don't want a lot of paint on here. Mountain, just for texture. And then I'm also going to dry brush in at the base of the mountains here. So it looks kind of foggy because right now our horizon line is super stark and doesn't look awesome. So I'm dipping in my my blue paint, and then I'm going to wipe it off. Wipe a bunch of it off onto my napkin or paper towel. And I'm going to go over this area. This is called dry brushing. I'm using a dry brush with just very, very little paint where it's not sopping wet, it's just light. And I'm just dry brushing over it. Creating this kind of hazy effect at the base of our mountains. Put a little bit into the water here. So it all kind of blends together. I think my horizon line might be crooked. I've noticed that when I'm teaching, when I used to teach at the studio. Thanks for coming, Annie. Enjoyed dinner. That when I teach, I don't know. Somehow my painting ends up crooked. I've dry brushed all that good stuff in there. So again, dry brushing is just by having a dry brush, putting it in paint, wiping it off so it's practically a dry brush again, just not a bunch of wet paint. And then it creates this kind of hazy effect. I'm going to rinse that brush out. This is so fun. I haven't taught a class like this in a while. We're actually almost at the end here. Our last step is just going to be working on the trees. I'm going to pause for a minute and make sure Lisa, who's painting along with me, is on track. But so far, we've gotten the background done, which is all our pink and purples. The middle ground, which is our mountains and our water and reflections. And our foreground will just be our trees. Pretty quick and easy painting. I've been on here for 42 minutes, and the first solid 5 minutes were me figuring out my camera, so it's pretty quick. Quick and easy. That's the way I like it. Actually, speaking of moving art to Espanola, I actually ran into the woman who I've been communicating with through there at a art event the other day. She recognized me from Instagram and came up and said hi, which was super sweet. And I've been meaning to just take their classes, and I've totally been slacking because they also do like exercise type classes like yoga and strength and stuff. So one day I'll get my SHIT together and do it. Hi, Amy. Hey, I'm a bit late, but hey, girl. Hey, from Kentucky. Oh, cool. Looking so awesome. Thank you so much. So I'm going to move on. Lisa, I hope you're on track with me. I'm now finally moving on to my, I just realized that I itched my ear on camera. That was cool watching myself do that. I'm moving on to my small or medium round brush. I don't really know how to gauge sizes of round brushes. This at some point had a number on it, a number 4. And for the foreground, which is our trees, again, I'm just going to use the navy paint. Now, just like the mountains earlier, you can put your you can put your trees anywhere in your landscape. You can make some tall, you can make them all tall, you can make them all short, whatever. I like that there's a variety to kind of give, again, some more dimension, some perspective of like what's in the front or back or whatever. But just like the mountains, you can really put your trees anywhere. I'm going to make mine verbatim. Just because I want to, that's what I created. So in case somebody wants it to look just like this, that's what we're doing. But you can put your trees anywhere. So I'm dipping into my navy blue paint, not mixing it with anything. And I'm going to create the trunks of the trees first. So again, I am holding my brushes funny just so that I'm avoiding my arm in the camera. Hold it however's comfortable for you. I've got one tree here. I've got one tree here. One down here. So I've got those trunks. I'll do it again on the other side in a minute, but I'm just going to start with these ones. And I'm going to start at the very top, and what I'm essentially going to do is make like the top of an arrow. I'm going to do it on here first. So if this is my stem, my trunk, whatever, I'm making this way oversized so you can see it better. The top is going to look kind of like this. Not as curvy though. It looks kind of like an arrow up there. I like these kind of trees are a little bit blobby, but like it looks good. Like I said, I've got like a little bit of an arrow going on. And I'm just going to show you my biggest one first. Let's scoot this closer. And I'm really just going to I'm going to sweep out from the center, but I'm also just going to kind of dab my brush and just start kind of just blobbing, dabbing it on there and just get wider and wider as I go down. There are many different techniques to do trees. This is not, doesn't have to be your favorite technique. If you have a technique you like, you can use that too. I've got my first tree done. I'm going to do the same exact technique with the other two. Starting at the top, got a little bit of an arrow going on. And then just put a whole bunch of paint on that top. I'm kind of just poking or dabbing my brush as I fan out from the center, making sure that my branches get bigger as I go down. Now, that being said, don't be worried if your trees are touching at the bottom. That's fine. It just means they're overlap. They would be overlapping in real life. No big deal. So see how these are touching? No big deal. This means they're overlapping and you just can't tell because it's all the same color. Let me make this one a little. Same technique here. Arrow at the top. Oop, too much paint again. Dabbing my brush out from the center point to create these branches. I'm just cleaning up some areas. I'm gonna make the bottom a little darker here too. This color is a little bit translucent. Down to 3 people. I think I lost most of my folks. And I just realized that there's a huge glare. That's a little better. How do I fix you, glare? I turn this way more. Glare, glare, glare. There. I'm gonna do the same with my trees on the right. Again, I'm just doing my original verbatim. This one, the one I'm making now is a little bit bushier than my original one. Doesn't matter. It's fine. They're still trees. I have one that's like right in here. Got a taller one. Why do I have so much paint in my book? Whoop, there they go. Same technique, making a little arrow at the top, dabbing it out. Using my brush to just kind of lightly poke my paint onto my canvas here. Excuse me. I would love to hear, I know there's only 3 folks left on here, but suggestions of paintings you would be interested in doing. This one really, I was inspired by a painting I saw on Pinterest with this type of color scheme. And that kind of inspired this one, which I didn't realize it kind of looks like a wind painting, but I really like it. I think it's beautiful. But I would love to hear if there are other types of paintings you guys might be interested in doing or watching. Here, what is that? Look around. So this is what we're looking at. Hi, Carmen. Welcome. Can't decide if I want to add an extra tree or not, just for funsies. I think I'll leave it for now, maybe later. But those trees are actually the very last step of your painting. But like I said, you can change it up however you want, but as few or as many trees as you would like. Sometimes it's also good if you're unsure about your painting, sometimes it's good to set it aside and take a look from it at like the opposite side of the room. When we're so close and connected to our painting, we see all the little tiny flaws or things we may not like, whereas opposed to if you're like 5 feet away, it changes. You're like, oh, you know what? You don't see that one little tiny polka dot that accidentally splashed on there, or, oh, I guess that mountain shape is good, or maybe it's not. Oh, that looks terrible. I need more trees. There's not enough stuff happening. So I do recommend stepping back if you're not happy with it, just to kind of see what it might be missing, if anything. But other than the trees, you can sign it, and that's the whole painting. You have any painting suggestions for me of things you would like to see me make? Go ahead and leave them in the comments. I would love to hear that. If you are just joining me, thank you for being here. We made this beautiful painting today. Now I've got 2. Maybe I should give one away in a giveaway. And yeah, thank you for being here. Real quick before I close up here, Lisa, is there anything you need me to repeat? Any questions you have on your painting? Please like this video if you haven't already, and it will save. I think it takes a minute to save, but if you want to rewatch the whole process and make this at home, I have all the brush sizes and colors and materials listed in the description that you might need. And you can follow along with us and paint this beautiful mountain sunset that we made today. Thank you, Carmen. Just takes a little practice. It's fun. I think painting is so fun, even for folks who don't know how to paint or haven't tried. It's just such a fun stress reliever and such a fun thing to play with. I love painting. And I encourage people. I mean, I'm also studying art therapy, but art's such a magical way to be able to express yourself and also just have a little fun. I think when we put the pressure on ourselves of it has to look perfect is when it gets kind of nerve-wracking. But if you're just playing or just trying or just having fun, I think it makes it a little bit better. Lisa said, no, I've got to work on my mountains a little more, but I'm liking it. Thanks, bunches. Well, I'm glad you're liking it. You should send me, if you're not, if you should send me a picture either in email, which is on, I think on my profile in here, or on Instagram or whatever. I'd love to see how it turned out. And if anybody else made any, feel free to send it to me via email or on Instagram as well. But thank you all so much for being here, for making our beautiful mountain sunset painting. Let me know what other type of ideas you'd like to see, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.